In this Webflow tutorial, I'll teach you how to create a calculator in Webflow using AI. It's much easier than you think, although this specific tutorial is for intermediate to advanced people who are comfortable with using custom code, which I've already created a tutorial in the past. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example website, talentscreen.mvsi.com. And you'll notice this actually has 3 different calculators, and we can go ahead and put a specific input. In this case, it's average employee salary. Let's just say $10,000. Numbers of hires per year, let's just put 100, and estimated bad hires in percentage, let's just say 10%. We can go ahead and button that says calculate, and this will go ahead and spit out unique results based on what you inputted of that. So you'll notice if I change the above text, it's literally changing the fields as we see it right now. So this is actually very easy to build. Of course, you need to know the algorithm or the mathematics behind it. And we can build any calculator, like a pricing calculator, like this cost of bad hire calculator, whatever you want. In this specific tutorial, we'll be building the one and only tax calculator from the Australian government. So obviously, I was born in Australia. I'm an Australian citizen. I praise God. But we have to pay tax. And how tax is determined in Australia is based on a bracketing system, as you can see on my screen. So if you earn between 0 to 18,200, you'll pay $0 in tax. But if you earn, let's say, between 45,000 to 135,000, you'll have to pay automatic 4,288 plus 30 cents for each $1 over $45,000. So of course, each country has different tax rules, and there's just one extra little thing that the government likes to do is Medicare levy of 2%. So you also have to pay 2% of your total income. Again, I'm not a tax advisor. I don't even know if this is accurate, but this is what we're going to be building based on this specific algorithm. And we're going to be using AI. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this specific image because it has the algorithm right here. And we're going to go into AI of choice. In my case, I'm using Gemini because I really like Gemini. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste the image straight up and say, in Webflow, I want to build a calculator using Webflow forms where it determines how much tax the user has to pay. And then we can say see screenshot, which is based on Australian tax system. And I'll go ahead and just hit enter. So it's a very short prompt. It says, in Webflow, I want to build a calculator using Webflow forms, because that's usually how calculators are done, where it determines how much tax the user has to pay. So they'll put an input field of how much they earn per year, and then see screenshot of the algorithm based on the Australian tax system. That's literally it. We can go ahead and submit, and AI is fantastic. And in the past, without AI, I previously went to like a backend developer, which charged me quite a lot of money, which they should be deservedly be paying for. But in this case, you'll notice it's all done. One more thing that I want to do that I forgot to mention is I want to use attributes, and I'll go hit enter. So if you guys remember, attributes is where you can literally click into the element, hit settings, and put an attribute. So now it's done. It has 4 different inputs. It has the main income input where we're going to add the number in, let's say $100,000. And then it has the Medicare, which is calculating how much Medicare it is, which is 2% of the total income. Then we have the tax results. And then we finally have how much you actually receive after you pay tax and that Medicare levy. Amazing stuff. Scrolling down, you notice it's literally written a JavaScript for me with all the formulas, which I just trust because we just trust AI for some reason. But usually AI is pretty accurate, and this is a pretty basic calculator. It's not super complicated, although it actually is pretty complicated. Sorry for the ramble, guy. This is my second time recording this video. First thing I'm going to do is just copy this JavaScript, go back into my Webflow project, hit the pages right here, go into the page settings, and paste this into my body right here. Go ahead, hit save. And the next thing I want to do is actually just add a form inside my Webflow project. I'll give it a class of tax form or calculator form, whatever you want. I'll give it a width of 100% and maybe a max width of 48 rems. Go ahead and put some padding and maybe change the background color. Of course, this video isn't about styling. And once that's done, I can go ahead and just maybe delete these specific fields. I only need one. I don't even need the submit button because everything is live. But if you do want a submit button, like I showed you in the earlier the video, you just reprompt the chatbot essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the submit button. I'll go ahead and give it the first field. I'm going to make this video funny. Like how much money you earn in 1 year, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and just copy this title, and I'm just going to paste it below the fields. And the next field is how much tax you have to pay, LOL. And I'll go ahead and just put another text, and maybe this one I'll call it how much Medicare you have to pay. And then the last one is how much you actually get. How much you actually get, LOL, right? I put LOL because we have to, be playful in these videos. So the next thing I'm going to do is maybe I just want to put a bit more gap into this specific form. So I'll go ahead and just give it a class of form gap. And I'll just put flex, wrap down, and put the gap of, let's say, 2 rems, or maybe just 1 rem. And then below this, I'm going to go ahead and just put a text block. And this will be the answer of the first question. I'm a designer, so this is really bothering me. I'm just going to go and just wrap this in a div block and just style this a bit better. Cool, so I kind of just styled it a bit, but that's essentially it. We have our input field where we're going to put how much we earn per year. Then it's going to go ahead and calculate how much tax we have to pay based on the bracketing system, as I showed you earlier. Then below that is going to calculate the Medicare levy surcharge, which is at 2% of your income. And then it's going to go ahead and minus how much you earn with how much tax you have to pay plus the Medicare, and that's how much you actually earn. Super easy stuff. Hopefully you guys follow. So we're going to go ahead and use the attribute method. So all of the name is the exact same, which is calc-element. We can go ahead and copy this, go back into Webflow and paste it firstly in our text field right here. We'll hit settings, scroll down when it says attributes, we can hit the plus, and we'll give it a name of that specific one. I'm going to go ahead and just place this into the results as well. So attributes, name, attributes, name, and attributes, name. So I've literally added the attribute name into this specific answer field, answer field, answer field, and input field. We now need to put the actual value. And the first one is income. So we'll go ahead and add that in. The next one is the tax we have to pay, which is the tax result text, tax total dash tax. Go ahead and paste that here. The Medicare, which is 2%, which is just called Medicare. And then finally, we have the take home pay, which is net dash income. So right here, go ahead and paste that in. So again, if anyone's lost in a high level overview of what we just did, because it's important to know what we did. We've added a Webflow form, we removed the submit button, we've added an input field right here, and we've added 3 different result texts right here where it says this is some text inside of a div block. These are the results text. And we know these are going to be changed because we've added an attribute right here where it has the name and the corresponding value right here. And why is this called total dash tax, for example? Is because that's what AI has written. If we go back into our settings, page settings, this is the JavaScript right here, which is referring to those specific attributes. That's literally it. That's the power of AI. We can go ahead and publish our site and everything will hopefully work. Let's go ahead and open a new tab. You'll notice we have that field. We can literally say, for example, we earn $50,000, so 5123, and you'll notice it says how much tax we have to pay, $5,788 plus the Medicare levy, which is 2%. But I'm pretty sure the Medicare levy is like you only have to pay it if you earn more than 90,000. This is getting very confusing. But then 50,000 minus 5,788 is 44,000. But if we put this to, let's say, 100,000, 1, 2, 3, you'll notice this is the tax and this is the result. I do notice the Medicare levy is kind of like not working. So let's go ahead and just fix that. We can go back, click into that results, and just make sure that we spelled everything correct. Cool. So this has a checkbox. So we already messed up. So the Medicare should be just 2% of the income, not in a checkbox, but just a text box. So we can go ahead and reprompt to fix the algorithm. And that's essentially it. So we can go ahead and just change this to the new value, which is Medicare total. So we'll go ahead and just change Medicare to Medicare total, go back into the script, we'll copy this and go back into the settings and paste it into the body tag. So we'll go ahead and hit save. We'll go ahead and republish. So what happened here was, obviously there was an issue with the communication with the AI. So I just identified it. It was the Medicare. It wasn't working. You can see the text didn't change. So then I just literally said, hey, make sure that this is a text box, not a checkbox, and it's 2% of the total income. So I just explained it. So sometimes that happens with AI calculators, but I'm not going to go ahead and record this video a third time. So once that's done, I've gone ahead and updated, the value and also the code. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page, and hopefully that works. So let's just say 100,000, 1, 2, 3. 2% of 100,000 is actually 2,000 plus the 20,788. And now I notice the total doesn't work because the value is probably different. So the value is indeed grand dash total. So we can go ahead and go back and change that to grand dash total. republish the site, and everything should be working. Refresh the page, and I'm going to put $100,000, and now everything works correctly how we wanted it. And if we go ahead and just say we earn $15,000, you'll notice we'll pay $0 in tax. Again, I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not sure if you have to pay 2% Medicare if you earn less than a certain amount, but essentially everything kind of works. So that's the point. This is actually incorrect. How much you actually get is actually incorrect. $100,000, you pay $22,000 in tax. This is just incorrect. So we can go ahead and fix this by saying the grand total should be the input amount minus the tax amount minus the Medicare amount. We'll go ahead and reprompt the chat, and we'll go ahead and just update the final script once again. We'll go ahead and go page settings, update the script, hit save, go back to the attributes, and we'll go ahead and make sure that this is named correctly. So income is okay, Medicare total, total tax, and grand total. I think that's correct. So income, total tax, Medicare total, and grand total. So that's correct. We'll go ahead and republish it, and now it should be working. Sorry guys, I really don't want to record this 3 times. This video has gone very long, but let's go ahead and test this one last time. So 100, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's triggered the tax bracket, which is $20,788 in tax, $2,000 in Medicare levy surcharge, and then $100,000 minus the taxes you have to pay, which is $77,212. Obviously, like I said again, the tax system in Australia gets more confusing. Like, I'm pretty sure you might not have to pay 2% Medicare if you have certain health insurance and if you earn less than 90K or something, and you're a certain age, but nevertheless, it's done. The premise is done. Everything's great. One thing that I noticed is if I just clear the input field, everything works. This says $0, $0, and $0, but if I refresh my page, you notice it says this is some text inside a div block. This is where we can go into AI and say, hey, we want the default text to say $0. Or we can go back into Webflow and just literally change it to $0, $0, and $0. You know what I mean? So that's also possible. But these are small, minor things that we can do. I hope you guys understand the premise of how to create a calculator in Webflow, how simple it is, and how you can be an evil person. I'm not sure if it's evil actually, but you can perhaps charge a subscription for clients doing this calculator and bug fixing it. So again, my name is Derek Su. I've done many free Webflow tutorials on my YouTube channel. Please check them out. Otherwise, I also have a paid Webflow course and a paid freelance course. Otherwise, please leave a comment on what tutorials you want me to do next. Give this video a like. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.